With the cold weather dominating this week, heating your home has been front and centre, I imagine, of many of your minds. It's certainly been on my mind. Today, bill payers have learnt that prices for that gas and electricity will be going up in the new year. And with millions of households set to see a rise in prices from January after the regulator Ofgem outlined its next price cap. The 0.2% increase will affect those on variable tariffs here in Wales as well then in England and Scotland too. So what do we need to know about it? What are the important details? Amy Knight is a personal finance expert and business commentator and is with us on the line now. Good evening, Amy.
Hi, Megan.
Thank you for joining us. 0.2% increase then, what does that actually mean for customers at home?
Yeah, it means 28 pence per month more or £3 per year for the average dual fuel household who's paying by direct debit. So this 0.2% increase, it's quite small. It's certainly much lower than some of the hikes we've seen over the last few years. But the dual fuel household, that typical family home that's talked about in the statistics, that might not apply to you. You might have a much larger home with more radiators and more rooms. You might have an older home that's not very energy efficient. So that increase could actually end up being quite a bit more for some families.
And while we can contextualise this in the context of not too many pounds for many people, it's not going to be welcomed news, is it, for customers?
Absolutely not. It's not going to be welcome news for households who are already struggling to cover the essentials, and it's not going to be welcomed by businesses either. They're not protected by the price cap, and the UK is paying extremely expensive rates for energy at the moment, and that's really putting us at an economic disadvantage. And people at home might be thinking, well, to be honest, I'm just worried about heating my home. Why do I need to worry about what businesses are paying as well? Well, it all feeds into the cost of living, because when businesses have to pay more for their energy, they've got to find ways to either absorb that cost into their business or they pass it on to consumers. That's what feeds into the inflation data, and that makes going out and buying things, the weekly shop, more expensive for us.
So if someone is listening this evening and having a bit of a panic about what they can do to get on top of these bills, where should they go for help? What would you suggest?
Engage with your energy provider. Switching supplier and picking up the phone to the provider, it feels like one of those boring life admin tasks that's very easy to keep putting off. But the sooner you tackle it and you're starting to be proactive, the sooner you can start saving that money. And providers have a duty to help customers who are struggling, but they can only help if you let them know what's going on. So that would be the first tip. Next, you need to engage with price comparison websites to see whether there's a better deal out there for you. If you drive an electric vehicle, then the tariffs that enable you to charge overnight when demand on the grid is lower can work out much more economical. And then things like switching to a fixed deal to give you certainty with your monthly budget and making sure that you're paying in a way that works for you and your finances. So if you want to switch to direct debit and make sure that goes out as soon after you've got paid as possible, that can make it easier to manage the money you've got to last you for the month.
Brilliant. Lots of food for thought there. Thank you very much. Amy Knight, a personal finance expert and business commentator. Brilliant to have you with us. It's just gone 20 to 6.